Hello everyone, this is Mopar Dad 84 here with another video, and today I'm going to explain how I made my V6 Challenger sound like a V8. Now with that being said, it doesn't sound exactly like a V8. V8 would be a little bit louder, a little bit deeper tone, but it's pretty close. And I'm going to do a cold start. It's really cold out this morning. And I'll do some revs so you can hear how it sounds, and show you the parts that I took off the car and what I put on the car and the differences it made in the sound and the performance. I'm gonna come down now here and do the cold start. The car's got frost all over it. Cold, truly cold. It's a real cold start. Those are only like 2,000 RPM revs because it's really cold and I don't want to over rev the engine right now. So I'm going to take you up and show you some of the parts that I took off the car and what difference it made with my 0 to 60 times. I typically, whenever I put on a mod, I do a 0 to 60 run and see if it made any difference. So here's what it looks like under the hood with a cold air intake. Pretty nice, it's pretty clean. Try to take care of it. We're gonna go up and look at the two cans that I took off the rear of the car. They're very heavy, they're very restrictive. The car sounded like a Prius when I first got it, which I think is crazy. You got a sports car, I don't care if it's a V6 or what it is, if you even has a 4-cylinder, if it's a sports car, it should make a little bit of noise stock, but that's why we have aftermarket, right? So for the very first thing I did, I took these big heavy things off of it. Those right there are the very rear of the car. They weigh about 20 pounds a piece, so removing those takes about 40 pounds off the car. It's the first thing I did, and I just ran it like that for a while because it puts the exhaust is just coming out maybe a foot before the tips. Nobody can really see. I did end up switching the mid mufflers. The reason being, it was actually louder without these two at the back and just the stock mufflers, because they're actually a straight through muffler on my car. It's a true duo exhaust system where it has two cats, 2 mid mufflers and 2 resonators. Now some people call those at the back mufflers, whatever. I call them resonators. Typically the resonators behind the muffler, and a lot of vehicles that I've seen, trucks are that way, so I call them resonators, but whatever, they're mufflers, resonators, whatever you want to call them. And I'll show you what the mid mufflers look like. They're straight through design. I'll show you what I put on. It sounds really good going down the road. It's actually pretty loud going down the road, but it's not as loud, like I said, as it was with just taking those rear resonators off, because the stock mufflers were straight through design. And so here are the mufflers that I put on the car. They're the Flowmaster Super 44s. And take one of the stock mufflers out of the box. That's what was on there stock. So if you can imagine, take the rear resonators off of the car, or again, mufflers, whatever you call them. I call them resonators. And it's going to be pretty loud. The reason that I switched to the Super 44s is because with that setup, with the straight through, it was obviously a V6. It sounded totally, you know, you could tell, especially if you revved it up, you know, it was a V6. It didn't sound bad. It sounded like a Nissan Skyline or something like that. It sounded good, but I wanted a little deeper tone, and the 2 Super 44 Flowmaster mufflers will give you that. So I took it to the shop, because I don't have a welder or anything like that, so I took it to the shop, had them cut out the mid mufflers and install the Super 44s where the mid mufflers were, and also weld a little piece of pipe where I took out the resonators. And I think it sounds really good. Like I said, it's not quite as loud as it was stock, but it sounds more like a V8 with the rumble that it has. If you wanted a little bit louder, you could go with a high flow cats or delete the cats. I don't recommend deleting the cats because it's illegal, so maybe a high flow cat. Yeah, that'll give you a little bit more sound, or probably a lot more sound with, you know, going with a high flow cat. So we'll go. And as far as like the performance gains, when I just took the first thing I ever did was just take them 2 resonators off the back, and liked the sound, but again, it was totally V6. Didn't sound bad, but I wanted something that sounded a little bit more like a V8. Even though I tell everybody it's a V6, I'm proud of the fact that it's a V6, because I know I can line up with a lot of V8s and beat them. And you know, 300 plus horsepower, so stock. And I'm working on bringing that number up, so pretty easy. You know, you line up beside a V8 that has a lot of wheel spin when he takes off, guess what? You're gonna beat him every time. I can beat him every time, unless they've got an extraordinary amount of power. But 400 horsepower car that likes to spin the tires a lot when he takes off, I'll beat him every time, especially in the 8th mile. He might catch me in the quarter, but my car takes off like a rocket. So it's only got 268 pound-feet of torque, so it's not ripping the tires off. It's 20-inch wheels. It'll still spin them, but it ain't gonna just sit there and dance either. I can put it to the floor and just go. Pretty easy. But again, as far as 0 to 60 times, it didn't change with just taking the resonators off. It felt like it lost a little bit of punch off the line, but it gained a little bit of punch once the RPMs was up. So overall, my 0 to 60 was the same. Then with putting the Super 44s on and adding the little piece of pipe that was missing at the back where the resonators were, I noticed that I didn't lose that punch off the line. Everything was more, you know, gradual, but I lost a little bit of that higher RPM power. But again, 0 to 60 stayed the same. Now, something that I noticed though, with me being in the north, when the car set for a little bit through the winter, when it got nice enough where I could start driving it again, I started running 93 octane. In other vehicles, I've not really seen a difference, but in this vehicle, I think because I already have increased airflow with the K&N intake, increased exhaust flow with the Super 44s, running 93 octane made a huge difference. I dropped like almost a half a second, 0 to 60. I was running a 6.4, 0 to 60. Now I'm running a 6 flat. And wheel spin is a lot more, it's a lot harder to keep it from spinning the wheels now. It made a huge difference. Noticeable difference when you first touch the gas, because it always seemed like it had a slight hesitation when you first hit it, and that split second's losing you a little bit of time, and you know, on your launch. But as it sits now, it takes off like a rocket, and I know I'll be in the 5-second range pretty quick. I think I could be right now if I could get the tires to stop spinning so much when I try to take off, because I'm easily consistently running 6 flat. The car stock has a 6.2 rating, 0 to 60, and my car, I think why it was running a 6.4 at the beginning was these big 20-inch wheels. That adds weight. This sunroof, that adds weight, and I also got the track pack. The track pack might be helping a little bit, or it might have just added more weight. I don't use the shifters as much as I thought I would. Paddle shifters look really cool, and I fool around with them a little bit, but honest to goodness, the car takes off so fast, you gotta be quick with the shifts, because just leaving it in automatic, just putting it in drive and going, it's gonna be way better and way faster shifting than you are. You're not gonna be able to keep up with it, honestly. You're not gonna be able to keep up with the shifts. Thing takes off, hits 40, and like instantly, and then 60 goes by in 6 seconds flat. So I mean, you better really quick shifting. I just rather just put it in drive and put it to the floor and let it do its own thing, because the 8-speed automatic, it already shifts extraordinarily fast, and that's where you got an advantage if you're going up against some older cars that have V8s. Not only are they going to probably spin the tires too much taking off, they're also not going to, if they got a stick, I'll beat them every time. If they got a little older car with automatic, it's not going to shift nearly as fast as these new ones, especially this 8-speed. I mean, I don't lose no power in between gears. The thing shifts so seamlessly and fast, it's almost like it's all one gear. It just goes. There's no loss in between shifts. You don't even hardly feel it shift. You know it shifted because you hear the RPMs change, but it just goes and it's gone. I mean, I drove a lot of cars. You know, I had a Hemi that, you know, Ram that I had all decked out, cold air intake, exhaust, tune on it and everything, and 392 gears in the back, and it couldn't hold a candle to this thing. It's just a difference of a truck and a sports car. A lot of people think because they got a V8 it's faster. Well, that was a V8 truck, and I'd hit a 0 to 60 in about 7.5 seconds. So still pretty quick for a truck, but wouldn't touch this. And I believe my quarter mile would be a really low 14, if it's not in the 13s now. And my truck was running a 16 flat, so still really quick for a truck, but it goes to show you, just because you got a V8 don't mean you're going to win the race. And the truck like to spin the tires too, so you know, that doesn't win races. When you're spinning the tires, you're not winning races. Looks cool, but you're not winning races. You're losing them, and you're losing them to a V6. Sorry to make you feel bad, but that's just how it's going to happen. I've yet to be able to take this to the drag strip. I'm going to be this year, and there's going to be videos of that, and there's going to be videos of me beating V8s, because I know I can do it. I've driven, you know, V8 trucks and cars, and the little older ones made about the same horsepower that this does, and they didn't shift as fast. So like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe so that you get notifications whenever I do another video. And you know, like I said, there will be drag racing videos on here, so very soon, hopefully. Depends on when I can get to the track. It's not so cold, because I know I'm going to spin as well right now. So again, like and share my videos so other people get to see them, and I'll see you in the next video.